Yeah, I know. I kind of look like a little bit of a dork. What's up, everybody? It's Joey Bags, and welcome to the live stream. And as usual, it's 11 p.m. on a weekday night. Yes, I know. Everybody would love it if I live streamed earlier. But I'm a dad, and I'm a husband. So I've got a few things that I got to take care of before I can go ahead and get to sit in nice and peace and calmness in the race sim. So I take care of what I got to take care of, and then here we are. So, welcome everybody to the live stream. And today we are going to, let's see if we get this sound a little bit higher up there. There we go. Let's just a touch more, just a touch more. Let's get it on the let's see. All right, there we go. So we're a little bit, maybe a little bit too loud, but whatever. Today was the day that iRacing dropped their new update. And boy, was it an update. The whole UI has been revamped, and I can tell you, iRacing, shout out, man. It looks great. You know what? Let's enough of the chit-chatting in my face. Let's get into so you can see. There we go. So you can see what's happening. And yeah, as you can see, this looks great. You know what? Let me hide my face just a little bit so you can kind of get the fullness of what's happening here. So if you've done iRacing at any point in time, this looks completely different than how it did before, and it's for the better. It's the whole UI is really nice and streamlined. Before, where you had to kind of find a few things, like this is the home screen. You've got a lot of things right here at, easy to get to, like the shop, it's right there. There's some new cars, a little bit expensive for me, but whatever. You've got settings and stuff here. Getting to things is a lot easier than it was before. At least I found it just a little bit cumbersome before to, kind of do some stuff. Your ratings on your racing history, right? Okay. So you can see I don't race online at all. iRacing, yes, I do pay. I have a love-hate relationship with iRacing, and I'll pay month at a time, and I'm in that month I might race 3 or 4 times AI against AI, really, because of the times that I do have to sit down and race. It's just little times like this, 11 p.m. at night, and sometimes I just want to sit and race. I don't want to have to sit there and wait through the whole ordeal and the qualifying and all that. I just want to get into it. So AI for me is kind of where I like racing, and it's the same deal with all the other sims. It's just easier to race against the AI. So, and for whatever reason, for all the reasons that I've spoken about in the past, where my whole, I don't want to ruin somebody's race, I don't want to do this, I just want to be calm and easy. That's why I like AI. So that's why you can kind of see that I'm like super rookie and have no real I rating, because I have never raced a online match in iRacing. So here we go. This is all super nice, quick links to, forums, paint shop, your profile, the content that you own, multiplayer. Like now this is broken down to racing. So you've got like test drive at the top left there, racing, your home stuff, multiplayer, you can get to host it, so you can host your own races, which is going to be super awesome. So I've been asking in the past, hey Joey, are you gonna ever race with viewers? And yes, I've just got to sort out the logistics of it. And if there's anybody that is interested in, oh, I like doing iRacing is what I do. So here we go. I've now got an option to host some races in iRacing. I've used Assetto courses um server software. So I have actually a few servers saved in Assetto Corsa that I will play with some friends. And so I'm familiar with that. So there's always that option. There's always the option in ACC. There's always the option in AMS2. So now this is another option with iRacing. And now here they've got, you know, a little single player section where you can do time attack, which is actually kind of cool. Or, and so you see you can a few different cars here, and you can just go in and they have different tracks with, and it looks like this is stuff that they're gonna cycle through. Because this is ends March 11th, so I have a feeling this will cycle through to the next set of cars or whatever they decide they want to do. And then you have an AI single player, and you can kind of do like seasons here. So there's a little racing season with the Formula 1600s. I really like this car. The Formula V, I really enjoy this car. The MX5, like all these little vehicles, I really enjoy them, especially on some of the smaller tracks. And then you can, they have the Porsche. I don't know if these are going to be, if these are permanent. It looks kind of like these are permanent. So, okay, there's like 13 AI in that one, 5 events. And it looks like you can also go ahead and create a custom one. So that's also a super cool little option that you can just go ahead and, hey, you know what, instead of the single, you know, race, which I usually tend to run, that's what I gravitated towards, you know, having a little racing series with, you know, these particular vehicles, which I kind of do like. I find this is going to be fun. So, you know, I'll go ahead and I'll start off with the Formula 1600, and I'll just work my way up from, you know, the 0 to 10% in skill, which, you know, I should have somewhere between 0 and 10%, to maybe by the time I get to the Porsches, you know, and the 25-50%, maybe I'll have some increased skill by then. I do have to say, I really do like the increase, well, the change in the UI. It's made it look a bit cleaner. Um, I know they said this was gonna happen. I did not expect it to quite look like this, and this is, I think, a super net positive all around. And like I said, I've had my issues with iRacing, and it's really just because of the handling in iRacing. I kind of fall in line with Gamer Muscle, if anybody's ever watched any of his videos and his views of iRacing. I don't feel, I mean, I know people want to say, oh, it's super realistic. I have a very hard time going along with that. In just my enjoyment factor of it, I've had more frustrating times and I do AI races. I'm not even doing races against, you know, other people, you know, and I have super frustrations with, you know, the tire model and the physics and, you know, how it was before. You know, you touch grass and it's like you're on ice, and truly that's not really how it is. And there's just some things that I don't agree with. You know, I have a personal issue with. I just don't feel it feels right. And Gamer Muscle has kind of voiced that opinion quite a bit, and I do agree with him. And if you don't agree, too bad. I don't care. That's my opinion. You can go ahead and have yours, and if you want to try to argue that, I guess, but I'm still gonna go hold by how I feel that it's just eh. But every once in a while, when it's good, it's good. When things, you know, gel, it's pretty fun racing for me sometimes. Not as fun as, like, let's say AMS2 or even Le Mans Ultimate. And I have a lot of issues with Le Mans Ultimate, mainly the sound design in Le Mans Ultimate. That's actually my biggest gripe. But handling and physics in Le Mans Ultimate, I kind of enjoy it there. I think they're going in the right direction. There's still some small bugs, and these are little quality. To me, I'm gonna see them as quality of life bugs. Kind of like the whole race time where I want to set it for 18 minutes and it goes for 4 hours. You know, those are small things. The graphical fidelity, I would expect more. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, just because I'm running, 1080p. Um, Maybe I'll experiment with, upscaling my setup to like 1440 or 4K, and then I'll take a look there. My video card can hold it, so it's it can do it. So I'll go ahead and I'll try it and see. Maybe I might change my mind when it comes to graphical fidelity, in that case. But I guess because of where we're at, I expected a little bit more and a little bit better for 2024 in a newer title, but you know what? That's maybe just me being a little ultra critical. Um but Le Mans Ultimate they've done quite a bit of good, and I enjoy racing in it. iRacing, like I said, I've got this whole love-hate relationship with it. But I do have to say, I once the server issues were fixed earlier, because it was kind of a headache, being the new hotness, of course, everybody's going to, you know, hit up the servers, hit them hard. Everybody's downloading, everybody's updating, everybody's trying to jump online into matches. So I understood there was going to be some issues. So I set it to download this morning while I was at work. And later on in the afternoon during my lunch break, I took a look. I was like, okay, everything's good to go. I tried to get in to see if I can kind of mess with it real quick, just so I can get some settings taken care of. And yeah, just let's see, where are we there? No, that's not what I want to do. Let's get that back there. All right. So I was just trying to get some settings done, so that way when we're actually, you know, in the sim, you know, I'm not spending a bunch of time futzing with settings, because the last thing I want to do is futz with a bunch of settings. That's the last thing I want to do. And let's hope the sounds are okay. I started messing with it. Hopefully it's not too low. Oh, you know what? Let me turn on Crew Chief. I haven't listened to him in a while. Where's my cursor? There we go. And let's scroll down. iRacing.
Radio check.
All right, so there we go. So we've got Crew Chief up and running. So like I was saying, there was some issues earlier. Once I was done with work, there was still some issues. I checked online, and iRacing, they kind of tweeted, yeah, they know that we have some problems. So it wasn't until about like almost 8, 9 o'clock that I went back to it, that I was able to take a look and get, start messing with the settings, seeing which cars that I own I'm able to use the rain settings with, because it's not every car. It's every track has rain. You can have rain on every track, but not every car has rain tires. And okay, part of my love-hate relationship with iRacing is the business model and the pricing on the subscription and then the content. Paying almost $12 per car, and I think it's like almost, let's see, what's the price per track? Look, if I'm paying $12 per car, like damn, and if I wanna race with the new GT3s, or I'm spending a bunch of money, like 20, 20, let's see, 12, 24, 30. Look, I'm already spending for, nah, you see, I just can't. I have a huge issue with their business model. It's like, I really shouldn't be paying $12 for this. Not only am I paying a month to, just to get onto the servers. Now I'm paying you a bunch of money for a car. And well, yes, I know some people just buy one and that's what they kind of specialize in. I kind of like just driving a bunch of different things, kind of whatever I feel. This is why I kind of like, Assetto Corsa is amazing because I've got almost 900 cars. I have a variety of cars and I can just always kind of go back and forth. And yeah, I know you'll come back and say, "Oh, but if you're driving so many different cars, you never get good with one." Well, you know what? I'm not a real race car driver. It's a sim, or if I'm playing Gran Turismo, it's a game. It's a simulation. Who cares? You know, if I'm good enough with all the cars, I'm happy with that. I don't need to be like fucking Max Verstappen with just one car. No, thank you. I'm not trying to get there. I'm just happy, just being able to drive whatever the hell I want to drive. And so, look, so they have $15. Misano. This is one of the new tracks. I will give them this. They did give out a few tracks, which was kind of nice, but some of the new stuff that people are going to really want to drive, behind the $15, $15, $12. Okay, $5, that's not too bad. Maybe if it's a decent track. I really wouldn't mind trying it before I buy it. But like, oh, let me try this track. If I really enjoy the track, then maybe I'll drop the money on it. Oh, you know what? Here we go. I'm over here. I never. Hold on. Let me fix this real quick. I'm over here. I did not fix Twitch. So let's get this. With iRacing. Let's get this out the way. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm taking up your time. Your precious time that you're using to watch me. There we go. So I really wouldn't mind kind of like a try it before you buy it. Let me download it. Let me get, 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. Let me get a little bit of time with it before I make that decision whether or not I want to drop it or not. Because Nürburgring, yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to buy that because everybody races on that. Okay, Road America. I really do like Road America. Sebring is one of my home courses here in Florida. It's like 2 hours away from me, if that. Maybe yeah, I think it's about 2 hours away. And I race that all the time in Assetto Corsa. So yeah, it's like I don't know if I want to pay $15 for it. I did get what's that track in New York. Oh, oop, let me go. My content, my tracks. Let's see, where is it? My favorite track, but it's Watkins Glen. There we go. So I really, 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 really enjoy racing Watkins Glen. That I did pay for. I think VIR was included, and I kind of fell in love with the North Course. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to set up. I'm going to do some test driving. And no, we're not going to do this one. This one was actually pretty nice, but I'm going to get into the Formula Ford, the Ray Formula Ford 1600, because that does have wet tires. And we'll stick to Lime Rock because I do like Lime Rock, and I like the Grand Prix circuit with the little chicane here instead of that right-hander. I really don't enjoy that uphill right-hander. I prefer the chicanes better. So here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and set up some rain. So we're gonna do static for right now. So you have three options. You have static weather, forecasted weather, or timeline editor. So in static, it's pretty much exactly what it is. You'll have one weather setup from beginning to end. Forecasted weather is you can kind of put it in and it'll just kind of roll through as you've set it. Timeline editor gives you exactly what you want down to the hours, where you can sit here and let me see, I'll launch this real quick just so you can kind of take a look at it. So here's like your timeline of what your practice is, and you can start adding in, okay, I want clear at this time, and then I'm gonna add another one in. Okay, so now I want, let's see, I'm gonna add in another one and another one. So let's see, and let's see, I saw the little arrow here, so I can make, there we go. So I can go ahead and now, so I want this to be heavy rain. So before I've got the racing started, I've got heavy rain happening. So by the time you get into practice, your track is going to be saturated. And at this point in my practice time, I can put, it went from heavy rain to just moderate rain. And now we can go ahead and there we go. And now we can have that. So if my practice is running from, excuse me, still battling with that cold, from 2:30 to 3, I can have the heavy rain ends a little bit before my practice starts. And now I've got moderate rain from the beginning of practice till, let's go, maybe, I think this is like 3:30. And then I can have here, this go down to light rain. And let's get, there we go. Ah, dang it. There we go. So now I can have light rain to happen from there until about 5 p.m., which depending on where you are, that could be sundown. And then from there, we can go down to light fog, partly cloudy, or we can have it clear up. So, you know, if you want to go ahead and just have a whole hot, nasty time here of practice. And you know what? Actually, I think let's go ahead and run this one just because this will kind of be a little interesting. So let's see what this is going to look like. So we've got moderate rain. So we had heavy rain earlier. That would have saturated the track. We're now starting in moderate rain and going into, you know, 6 p.m. or whatever. It's going to go from moderate to light, and then from light it'll taper down into some fog. So let's go ahead and let's test drive this. Now the cool part is that this particular car that I'm using, the Formula Ford 600, why did it crash? So yeah, okay, so okay, I kept all that. Well, let's do this again. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. It's launch day. There's gonna be issues, so I'm not gonna crucify iRacing because, you know, things may be not running the way you would optimally want it to, but like I said, and there you go. So here we are, and you can see the moderate rain. Now, I know a lot of people were concerned on what kind of impact this was going to have on their systems. I pretty much have this set to some pretty high settings, and I'm seeing about 160 FPS. Actually north of 160, but you know, Later on, we'll do a race with other cars and you can see what kind of impact it's going to take. I was reading something online where someone was saying that this is a case where
Pit lane speed limit
multi-threading
is 56 kilometers per hour.
is going to be rather important in your CPU to handle this. Now, you can see the shine on the rain and the puddles. I think I've got it sort of loud so you can kind of hear. Let's see, let's go over some puddles. You can hear the puddles. I watched the video, the early access video with Matt Malone, Tony Kanan, Daniel Morad, and some other sim tubers, where they were racing around in some pretty heavy torrential rain. Wow, that's a big puddle there. And Tony Kanan and Daniel Morad, shout out to them. They're actual race car drivers, so they were giving tips on, you know, what to do when you're racing in this stuff. Like, let's go through the puddles, and you know, they're like, this is the time you're gonna want to start taking outside lines. You know, the racing line is gonna be heavy with rubber from all the cars that have gone over it. That rubber, when wet, is going to be very slippery. So the last thing you'll want to do is actually take the racing line. So let's see if we can get around in all this rain and not spin out. Be nice if I just didn't go over the puddles. I'm sorry, guys. Ooh. And there we go. You see? So I cooked it going into the corner. I locked up those brakes. I'm also sure my tires are not warmed up at all. And it spun me out. And this is also a small light car with no ABS, no traction control. You know, this is as old school hardcore racing as you can kind of get. And I'm going around the track at 90, so and I think the ghost that I'm going after here, I don't think that was my first lap's ghost. I don't know if that's like my best lap times ghost. All right, so here's where I totally jacked it up before, so I'm not gonna stay to the left, especially where those puddles are. But there's that puddle there. Hopefully this comes across looking halfway decent, at least it does for me. I'm actually pretty happy with these graphics for what iRacing is and for as long as it's been around. I mean, damn, this is built on a platform that was around in 2008. You know, it's had improvements, but I mean, we're talking about OG here, so I'm not going to be as critical about it as I would say Le Mans Ultimate.
Sector 1 is 0 0.9, slower than your best.
I know, don't worry about it, iRacing guy. I just want to get some consistency going around here.
Sector 2 time is good.
Oh, cooked it a little bit too much.
Mind these track limits, please,
Yeah,
Joey.
I'm minding the track limits. I'm trying. You can really feel the difference in grip with this, especially when you hit these rumble strips and painted surfaces. Those are super slippery now, especially in a car like this with no ABS, no traction control. That slip out is almost instantaneous. You see, there we go. I hit a don't know what I hit.
The stewards have called us into the pits for repairs.
All right. There we go. Okay. So I broke something. So let's go at this again. Okay, so the one thing I'm a little happy about, but at the same time, I kind of do miss. So in Assetto Corsa, when you have CSP, or when I think you pay, if you're a paid CSP user, which I am, and you're using Soul or Pure, you can enable rain in Assetto Corsa. And the rain in the Assetto Corsa is actually pretty damn good, where it puddles up like this. You can feel it on your tires, you can feel it on your steering, but you can also see it on your windscreen. And me, I like to drive in bumper view. So another thing I don't really enjoy too much about iRacing is that I've got to sit in this cockpit view, which I don't really enjoy. In cars like this, it's okay, but in everything else, it's just like, ugh. I don't have triple monitors. I can't look to the sides of me, so it just throws me off. But in Assetto Corsa, when the rain is hitting the camera, you've got droplets and smears, and you know, so it's a little bit more realistic, like if you were wearing a helmet and the visor was getting pelted with rain. You know, that's actually kind of cool. Oh, you know what? I just realized I did not turn my face cam back on. Oh, well, I guess that's not too big of a deal. No one's complained about no face cam. You know what? Let's go ahead and...
Sector 1 is 1.9, off your best.
Let's go back into... Let's go into the pit. So that way I can go ahead and do this. And... all right, and you know what, let's move it up a little out of the way. So there you go. You can kind of what the heck is that? Oh, weird. Okay, I'll check that later, but there we go. I'm sorry, guys. So let's go ahead and two hands on the wheel, 10 and 2, and yeah, you've got to just be, I mean, as is with The Formula Ford 1600, if you goose it too much, you will spin it. You know, you've got to have a finesse with this. But in the rain and when it's slick, woo, you've got to be super careful. Let me go ahead and start earlier just because I'm coming down through all this water puddling there, you can see. So what I noticed earlier, I was running a wet track. I wasn't running with a heavier rain like this. And at this point of the track down here, if I got onto it too hard, it was just kicking me off to the left there. I was losing all grip on my back tires and it was just sliding me right off.
Sector 1 is quick.
Whew. And there we go.
Sector 2 time is okay.
Tires hit some water, hit dirt, and there you go. So you've need to be really good. Like, this rain is rather realistic. This I'll give it. This Tempest system that they're using for weather and the active effect that it's having on the tire physics and the tire model is really nice. It's giving you a really realistic feel. What I do wish is when I'm going around certain puddles, I really do wish it did give me that pull sensation. Maybe it's there and I just don't have a calibration set properly. That's totally possible because I don't really sit there and play with force feedback settings and all that. So it's totally possible that I could go ahead and, yeah, you see, like, you can hear you going over the puddle, but normally in a car, you go over a puddle like that and you're gonna get some type of pull. Now we're coming into a very wet section there, and we're going uphill. Let's take this easy through here.
Sector 2 is 2/10 off your best.
Oof, oof, oof. I don't know how I managed to save that. I want to watch a replay of that.
You've just done a 116.7. You're currently 1.3 seconds off your best.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's super wet out here, dude.
Sector 1 time's okay.
Two big issues right here.
Your sector 2 time is quick.
Oof. Almost lost the back end there.
last lap was at 113.2.
Yep, and there we go. I got on the brakes too heavy, way too heavy, locked them,
You've gone outside
and I kept going straight. This rain is no joke. If I didn't have iRating before, I might end up with negative I may actually end up owing them iRating if I were to race multiplayer online. That was a little bit too hard, too rough, too rough, too rough. I should have turned in a little bit sooner. All right, I think this is gonna be the last. I'm gonna pit in here, and we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna set up an AI race against some other Formula Fords. Not too many. Oh yeah, I felt the water puddling effect on.
Activate limiter.
All right, so let's quit this. There's no need. Well, you know what? Let's take a quick look. What was my fastest lap? 113. Let's see. All right, let's take a look at this. It's only a minute. Not too bad there, not too bad. It's also super slippery. All right, I've seen enough there. So let's go ahead and now let's set up. Yes. Don't want to save that. All right, so let's set up an AI single race. We're not gonna do a series, we're just gonna do a single race. No, I'm not gonna do a qualifier. That's fine if I end up at the back. And we'll keep it short at 5 laps. The formula, that when I'm cool there. Whatever. Time of day. 3 p.m. That's fine. Actually, let's move this acceleration to 2x. Weather. Let's do the timeline editor real quick. And so the race is there. So it's clear, clear, clear. Light rain. We'll do we'll do a regular amount of rain, so that way there's at least something on the track. And then we'll race in light rain. So we should be good to go there. Race options. Okay. Let's see. AI opponents. There we go. No, I do not want that many. Let's go with a baker's dozen. There we go. In grid position. No, I don't want to be first. I'm okay being last. All right, and let's go ahead. So I'm in the Ray Formula Ford 1600. We're racing Lime Rock Park, the Grand Prix course with the chicane, the uphill chicane. And we're going to be racing in light rain. Oh, it'd help if I hit rates. Thought I did. There we go. Okay, I'm covering up that part there, but for the most part, you can see everything else. I can guarantee you I'm probably going to come in last. If not last, maybe 12th. All right. There should be some rain. So let's take a look here at the weather. We can see the radar, and yeah, we can see it coming in. So 2:30 to 3, partly cloudy. All right, you know what? We might not see. If we don't see it, that's gonna suck balls. Especially because that's how I set it up, but whatever. Let's see.
5 laps.
It's only 5 laps.
All right, Joey, get ready. Floor it, green, green, green. 5 laps to go.
Dang it, I kind of wanted this to be rain.
Car left. Clear left. Left side. He's still there. Clear left.
I'm a little disappointed that there's no rain.
V13.
And I went in too hot. Son of a biatch.
Okay, Joey, the next car is Foster.
And there starts the rain.
The leader's just done a 58.6. The track temperature is falling. It's now 32 Celsius.
They've all pulled away from me big time.
That was a 114.2.
Ah! I needed to slow down a little bit more. They've all left me. Wouldn't be surprised. Why is my radar not up? don't really need it right now.
The track temperature is decreasing. It's now 29 Celsius.
And the rain stopped. Okay. So it seems to be an intermittent rain. They're so far ahead of me. It's not even funny. Oh, and there's the rain again.
Okay, Joey, that's half distance. You're looking good for fuel. 2 laps remaining. White flag, one more lap.
Ah. Oh, this is so frustrating. So frustrating. This car you have to be so delicate with. The Formula V is a little bit more forgiving.
The track temperature is decreasing. It's now 27 Celsius.
Super last place.
That was a fucking waste of time.
Gee, thanks. Hey, what's up, Rod Bearings? Yup. I decided, well, when was it? I think it was either yesterday or the day before. I knew this update was coming out today. So I figured, you know what, I only paid for a month, and let me go ahead and try it out. Could be great, could be bad, and if I'm only out a month, you know, the $13 for the month, that's not too bad. And I gotta tell you, it's actually pretty good. Why am I even going this hard? Anyway, so I do have to say, the update they did with the rain is actually really good. Really good. You know, I still have my issues with, like I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I've got my issues already with iRacing and the whole business model and what you pay for stuff. But I actually like the rain. It's adding a different depth to the racing, which I think is a good thing. It's gonna add a whole new aspect.
Let's get out of here. Try and forget this one, eh?
Okay. First, let's go into options. And let's see. My dude, where is he? Oh, I don't know if you guys want to see what my settings are there, but there's that. Oh, the rain is coming down a little bit harder. Replay, performance, replay, yeah, that's fine. Sounds, here we go. All right, we'll turn off the spotter because I'm running race what's his face? I can't even remember the name of the piece of software. Crew chief. Yeah, I'm running crew chief. So I think we're good to go there. So let's go ahead. Yes. PX saying that they are you talking about PXN with some of their new hardware like the 15-meter wheelbase, the sequential shifters they were doing that looked really similar to the Moza one, and their load cell pedal set? Because if that's what you're talking about, yeah, that it was supposed to be around this time this year, and I haven't heard anything from them. All right, so you know what? Let's go ahead and let's maybe race in something a little bit different. No, not time attack. We're gonna do the same thing again, but we're gonna use my other favorite little car. We're gonna do it in the MX Miata, and I think we'll do 8 laps instead. And oh, I don't think the Miata has rain tires. Let's see. Does the Miata have rain tires? No, the Miata doesn't have rain tires. What else had rain tires? Okay, the GR86 does. All right, you're gonna have to bear with me a little bit when it comes to the GR86 because I haven't driven in this car in a while. So track options, I think everything else is okay. Weather. All right, no, we're not gonna do timeline editor. You know what? We're just gonna do static, and we're just gonna do some light rain from the beginning. No, actually, that's not what I want. No, forecasted weather. That's what, yeah, there we go. So cloud cover, overcast, chance of rain ensured, allow rain at any time. There we go. Race options. Let's go ahead and let's see. Racing discipline, sports car. Oh. Track conditions. All right, we'll just leave that. 13. All right, I think we are good to go. Once again, if my voice is starting to sound a little bad, I'm still kind of getting over the cold. You know what? Maybe I should have changed this. Instead of slipping and sliding, I should have just put iRacing with rain. Maybe that's no way nobody wants to watch it, or it's just me. Nobody wants to watch. Let's go ahead while I'm waiting for that to load up. Let's change this. Let's go ahead. Let's change this. iRacing with rate. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and let's grid up. Ugh, I hate this view. Oh my god, I hate this view.
The track temp is 18. The air temp is 18. Celsius, 8 laps. Make them count. Be ready. Watch for the lights. Floor 8.
Oh my god, this is so slow. Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. All right, yeah, good job.
We've been called into the pits for repairs.
Beautiful. Wow, this, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna end this and do it again. Is there load cells for the PXM? There is no load cell upgrade or anything. It's just they have a set of load cells that they were developing. When it comes out, I don't know. Let me see all steps, so let's make this a little bit easier. I'm not going to change anything, but I am going to change disable car damage. There we go. That just was not fun. All right, now let's try this again. And God, that felt horrible. I felt almost no grip on that. I think I'm also going to have to change that field of view because that was just horrendous. Oh my God. You see, this is what I don't enjoy about iRacing. You know, I've kind of already gotten accustomed to my particular view, and I don't enjoy the cockpit view. All right. Field of view. All right, let me take it down to, no, let me take it up to 60. Okay, it's not letting me change it. Okay, so I guess we're done there for that. Let's go. So what do you think?
14th, 8 laps. Make them count. Okay, Joey, let's get this right. No fuck ups.
What I'm thinking
Go, go, go.
is we're gonna have this become super popular for a while, and as long as we don't get things diluted. Ooh. Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. Oh wow, okay. Okay. That really sucks balls. Holy crap. Okay. So like I was saying, as long as we don't get super diluted with just crap equipment thrown at us. Okay, yeah, that did not work. Wow. Yeah. Wow, I can't even get this to...
Yellow flag. Blue flag.
Wow, what, like, seriously? What the hell? Of course, the AI is lapping me.
The leader has just done a 116.1. Blue flag. On your left, clear that car left. Clear left.
Holy crap. This sucks balls. I was doing
Okay,
way
Joey,
better with the
just
Formula
cut the
4.
track.
Wow, this is frustrating as hell.
Fastest lap for
This sounds
116.0.
This... Wow. What freaking tires do I have on here? No wonder.
Engage the limiter.
The hell do I change these tires? Okay, can I go? Yeah, this yeah, this didn't work out the way I wanted to. We're just gonna quit this. Let's do this one more time, but let's make sure I have actual wet tires on here. Not whatever bowl happened there. So we can redo that whole thing. Race options. Qualified tire choice. There we go. All right, that's fine. Whatever. Yeah, man. Like I was saying, where this is leading to right now, we're in a good place where we have a lot of companies that are producing a lot of hardware for us. But they're producing a lot of hardware. The issue that comes along with that is how good is that hardware? And now we're, you know, stuck in the time where you've got something like Turtle Beach where, you know, they decided to throw their hat in the ring of, hey, let's produce some hardware, but the hardware they produced so far isn't reviewing very well. You know, it's got some good elements, but you can also see where they cheaped out. You know, they cheaped out in the quality of the materials, in the rigidity of the, like, the button box and how it connects, the rigidity of the pedals, where if anything, that should have really been where they put a huge focus. They should have put a huge focus on no, I don't want tire. I want wet tires. Apply. All right. So now I should be good to go. So, you know, there's a few things that Turtle Beach really should have concentrated on.
V14. The track temp is 18. The air temp is 18. Celsius.
And I think one of them should have been...
Go!
One of them should have been the quality of the pedal. So that 50K load cell should have maybe been a 60 or higher. They really they should have just copied there we go. That feels a little bit that feels much better. They should have just copied Fanatec. You know, for whatever I already say about Fanatec, and, you know, fuck that company and the bullshit that they're putting consumers through. Yeah, you see what happens when you're actually using the correct tire? Not a dry tire, Jesus. They should have followed, you know, their lead when it comes to a load cell, because honestly, this CSL load cell that I'm using is great. Now, I do have the load cell update for my G29s, and I'll have to go ahead and try that out just to see comparatively how it is. But I can tell you, going from Hall Effect pedal, which would have been the PXN set and the Moza set that I have, to this load cell, it's a night and day difference. If I've seen any improvement in my racing, in my driving, yeah, now I'm starting to see 70 FPS. And this is a little weird, but it was to be expected. I'm actually able to complete a lap. If I've seen any improvement, it was with that load cell pedal. And with all the information that's out there, you know, and all the possibilities that, you know, Turtle Beach could have gone ahead and gone with, they could have gone to one of the other companies and licensed out their hardware. You know, Asetek is kind of like an OEM, and well, no, Asetek licensed out Simicube stuff, so yeah, you know, I guess I just feel like they could have done a better job. And I feel like what they tried to give you a lot, but in giving you a lot with like that display, the load cell pedal, the quick release, they really messed it up. Where companies like PXN, it's rather simple. Their wheelbase is a rather simple design, nothing fancy, and it works. And whatever magic or voodoo they're doing to get it Xbox and PlayStation compatible is a bonus, especially when it's not as expensive as, let's say, Fanatec. Because the problem is Fanatec, the company has gone to shit. You can now see, if you hit up the subreddit and the forums, that people are getting their wrong orders from the new warehouse in Texas. So go figure, you know, now people are getting their orders, but they're getting their orders wrong. I mean, like, we can't win. And a lot of this stuff isn't cheap. So if we're sitting there and we're paying all this money for stuff, you know, at least what we should get what we're paying for. Somebody ordered a CSL DD Plus and they got a CSL. Excuse me. You know, so stuff like that's super frustrating. But then if you're console bound, or you also want to include console like I do, you're kind of stuck in your options. You know, if you want PlayStation compatibility, you're really stuck. You know, so it's either you're getting a Fanatec CSL DD Pro, which is like $700 just for that setup alone, or you can get the DD Extreme, which is $1,300, which that's crazy. Your other option is going Logitech, and Logitech's $1,000 just for the wheel and wheelbase. You know, so if you're a PlayStation, you know, racer, you're screwed. You really don't have many options. You've got PXN as an alternate, which is great, and it's cheaper at $550. So there's that option. The problem is that they're an unknown Chinese company and brand. So people are naturally going to be wary of spending $500 on a company where, you know, they're a newcomer. So they're kind of like in Moza's shoes, where Moza was maybe 2 years ago, where everybody was rather weary about Moza just because nobody knew what was going to happen with that brand. So you've got that issue. Now, if you're an Xbox player, you're good there because Moza has the R3. We don't know when the R3 is going to be out, but Moza made the R3. So eventually,
that's half distance. The fuel's okay.
You know, we'll see that. I've used the R3 and I think the R3 is phenomenal. I can't wait till it's actually available. The problem is it's going to be very low in newton meters. I think it's 3.9. So it's rather difficult to... So it's rather difficult to really recommend that when it's so low. Turtle Beach has their new setup, but they've already screwed themselves. Their quick release seems proprietary, and if they're not releasing any wheels, you know, we're screwed there. So what are we gonna do? We've only got that one option for their smaller D-shaped wheel. Great, another one of those. You've got an option of using a drive hub or a Resolution. I've used the Resolution 2. The issues that come along with that is you're using an intermediary box, you know, between your wheelbase and your console. Your force feedback always takes some kind of hit. You know, there's always playing with settings, so that's kind of a pain in the ass. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Quite a few of the videos that I've seen out there have been not promising. Also, you know, we'll go with eye of the beholder reasoning in this one. So if you're looking at the Turtle Beach from the eyes of someone who has already used much higher end equipment, and then you use the Turtle Beach and you see the areas that they cut the corners on, you're a little bit more critical than if you're coming from something like, let's say, a G29, a 923, or one of the, you know, entry-level Thrustmasters or Logitech setups, where almost anything is an improvement. You know, so I checked out iRacing's video, and quite honestly, watching that video, I decided that I'm not even gonna bother
2 laps left.
with the review myself, just because everything that all the points that he touched on were my major points that I had touched on my video a month ago, on what I figured was going to happen and what would end up happening if they went in the direction I felt they were going. So right here, I'm upgrading from a T300. Yeah, so you know, when you're coming from like some entry level stuff, I'm sure that's awesome, because quite honestly, you are getting, you know, much better components. Let's say load cell brake pedal, you know, much better than a Hall effect. You're getting a direct drive motor in there to give you more force feedback than you would be getting with let's say the entry-level gear driven setups, so that power is going to feel way better. But if you've already dealt with some of the higher end equipment and you've played with, like, let's say Sim Hub, and you've run a display on your phone or a tablet, or you've used a 10, 15, 20 Newton meter wheelbase, and you've felt the levels of detail that you can feel with a higher end wheelbase, when you go ahead and review something like that, and I think the biggest sticking point is the price that they're charging. We're expecting a bit more from them. You know, I'm not expecting what a wobbly, you know, I'm expecting a metal inside of the pedal base to hold the load cell. I'm not gonna expect flex in it. I'm not. I wouldn't tolerate it. I would expect, if you're using that type of quick disconnect for the wheel. I need to practice with this car. If you're using that style, which is the NRG style, you should not make it proprietary where you can't use an aftermarket wheel, because really that's probably the first thing. I can tell you that was the first thing that I was going to try. I was going to try my aftermarket wheels, steering wheels.
Bloody awful result, mate.
Yeah, thank you, dude. Thank you. I know it's bloody awful. So the very first thing I was going to do was put one of my PXN wheels, one of my Moza KS wheel, and attach that to see if it was going to work. Because at that point, you know, you've got an option, since Turtle Beach isn't announcing anything, and lo and behold, they made it proprietary. Exactly what I feared was going to happen in the video I did last month. You know, similar to what Fanatec does now. What Fanatec did is they locked out the force feedback unless you use one of their hubs to attach your wheel to attach it to the base. You know, so you can still get your axis left and right, but if you don't got force feedback, you know, it's kind of like whatever. You know, Turtle Beach kind of did their own little proprietariness where, you know what, I'm pretty much done here. So Turtle Beach decided to do their own little proprietariness where, you know, it doesn't fit the standard NRG styled quick release. You know, it doesn't lock into place. So if it doesn't lock into place, guess what?
There's the checkered flag. That's disappointing.
You can't use it. And honestly, that sucks. That really does suck. You're not giving the consumer, you know, any kind of options. You know, you're locking us down to your ecosystem, which sucks. And if you're charging me $650 for this, that's bullshit. You know, That's real bullshit. You know what? I think I'm gonna go back to the Formula 5, the Formula Ford car, because yeah, that kind of sucked. Well, you know what? Let me do it again. Let me do another one. Now that I kind of got the hang of it. What was your first? My very first wheel was a G29. And the reason I had went with a G29 is because I have a PlayStation 5, so I wanted to play Gran Turismo with it. So I used it on PC, and I was able to use it with Gran Turismo. The very next thing I did after that was I realized, after lots of research and reading online, that the best improvement to your lap times is going to be a load cell brake pedal. That will build the muscle memory that you need to build consistency. That is, so a load cell is the next upgrade that you should do to your setup. Depending on your space, you know, having a nice solid setup would be a wheel stand, preferably, or a cockpit. I decided to go cockpit. After I did that, and I was getting the hang of it, I felt that, you know what, I can improve a little bit. What direction should I take with improving? The load cell was the biggest thing that came up to be the improvement. So I went ahead and I upgraded my brake pedal to the Ricmotech load cell pedal. And it was great. It really did help me improve my lap times. After I did that, I started looking at direct drives and what my options were for console compatibility. And of course you come across Fanatec, because Fanatec is pretty much, other than the Logitech G Pro, which is like $1,000, Fanatec is the next setup that lets you use it on a PlayStation, and it's a direct drive, but it's $700. So I decided to take a chance on PXN, and I had gotten the PXN V12 DDL, the 6Nm, but I kind of also went on a limb and I ordered the DDS, the 10Nm base from Micro Center, and I tested both of those to see which one would work best. Now the issue that comes along with it is that if you're going to use it on console, you need to use the matching pedals. The A3 pedals from PXN suck balls. They're plastic, they're not adjustable. You can maybe add a little spring tension to it. That's about it. Other than that, they're garbage. But with their V12 DDL bundle, they ship the PDHM pedals, which look very similar to the Moza pedals, and they include a brake performance kit, so it's a dampener that stiffens up the brake pedal for you. So that's a big bonus there. Those pedals are hands down some of the best Hall effect pedals that I have used. So, you know, that was my go-to setup. My PXM V12, the 6Nm. I decided to stick with the 6 because the 10Nm was just too strong for the cockpit that I currently have. Well, the way I had it before, it was too strong. Now I'm okay with probably 15 to maybe 20 Nm. You know, I've stiffened it up quite a bit since. But at the time, 8 was the max that I could run on it. So that 10Nm base I had to run at 80% at 8 Nm. So I just stuck with the 6. And because I could use the PXM V12 on my Xbox and on my PlayStation, I was good to go. And from there, I just decided, hey, you know what? I want to review some of this stuff for YouTube. And that just kind of started the ball rolling, where I ended up buying a Moza R5 to review for the channel. I ended up getting blessed with Camus, and they provided me a C5 to review for the channel. So I went ahead and I did that. I have that wheelbase is awesome. And it's not because they sent it to me for free, because I mean I paid for all the other stuff. So I've already put money into this. But that C5, the force feedback and power on that thing is great. And it only costs $250. You know, yeah, it doesn't come with pedals, and if you want to get the pedal set up, you're probably looking at like 300 bucks. Plus shipping, you know, you can't forget shipping and tax and stuff. But for 250 bucks, that is a great wheel. Now, the shortcomings of that wheel are you can't change it out. So you get a, I think, like an 11-inch diameter D-shaped wheel. So if you drift, you'll have an issue with the flat bottom of the D-shaped wheel. The shift paddles are rather short. Now, I have small hands, so my index finger, pointer fingers are long enough that I can hit it without a problem. So for me, it wasn't an issue. For some people, I can see where it's a problem. But it's such a good wheel. I could easily tell somebody, hey, look, if you upgraded your, let's say you have a Logitech G29 or a 923 or whatever, and let's say you upgraded to one of the load cell upgrades that are available. There's one that's available for like 60 something bucks. Then there's the one from Rickmotech, which is a legit load cell, which I think is about 115 bucks or so. Or let's say you had a Thrustmaster setup and you have the Thrustmaster TLCM load cell pedals. If you just wanted to upgrade the wheelbase and you're on PC only, buying the Camus C5 is a no-brainer. It's such a good wheel, you know, and you'll be good for quite some time. Now, if you need that console compatibility, and that's kind of why you went with, you know, the G29 or the 923, then you're at that point, you're kind of limited, and, you know, just research, really come down to what your budget is, and your budget will dictate what you're able to get. But the long and short of it is, a G29 was my very first wheel.
Okay, Joey, halfway home. Fuel looks good.
Yeah, so I guess back to the whole Turtle Beach thing where, you know, I just think for the amount of money they're charging, for them to, you know, include, you know, subpar equipment, you know, those pedals, there should have been some metal backing in there to make sure that those pedals are nice and stiff. You want to add the cool little part where you can, you know, move the brake pedal left and right. Hey, that's awesome, but make sure that when you're using the load cell, it's not flexing. Don't lock down the display. I mean, really, that's what's gonna catch a lot of people. Like, oh, that's super cool, and when you realize you're kind of limited, it kind of sucks. You know, and it's the same with the quick release. You know, if I'm stuck to only using that one wheel, why even bother? You shouldn't even bother. You know, unless you have a upgrade path already set forth and you already have upgrades in production or ready to go, you shouldn't have honestly bothered. You know, people would have complained, oh, you can't change the wheel, but you know, what the hell. Now I do wonder if I can change out that snout. No, because it won't work with, yeah, you could probably change out the snout to use another wheel, but at that point then you'll lose compatibility with the original wheel, so there's that. I mean, you see, doing something proprietary like that really sucked. Turtle Beach really, they fucked themselves with that one. You know, also making it feel cheapy and plastic was not a good look for them. You know, and that was really one of the things that worried me the most, because this is Turtle Beach we're talking about. I don't think they really make anything super high-end. Well, maybe their sim flying stuff, I hear and see, it looks pretty good.
2 to go.
Well, that's the thing. If you go, I don't know if you actually watched it, but if you watch OC Racing's review video of the Turtle Beach setup, you know, he himself says he didn't notice the flexing until he saw it in the video. Quite honestly, that shouldn't have been like that. So if you're not feeling it when you're using it, I guess that's okay, but it's there. And that was one of the first things I saw when he's showing video of him, you know, pressing that pedal down, and I'm seeing it flex up and down. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, not even my G29 pedals flex like that. You know, and this is cheap Logitech stuff, so.
Labour is now in the lead.
I've already seen a few other shorts from someone else who had issues with their display when they went to do the firmware update and mess with their pedals. So you can be the one who kind of got lucky and have had very little issues with your setup, which is great. And quite honestly, that could be the majority of the experience from a lot of people, you know, because the thing is that a lot of people, when everything works the way it's supposed to, they don't ever go online to say, oh, my thing was, you know, perfectly fine. It's usually everybody that has a problem that are the, you know, vocal ones. So, you know, voices like yours also need to be heard, so then that way it's not always just negativity that's being thrown out there, because at the same time we're talking about a consumer electronic, and for as many as they produced, I'm sure there are going to be some duds out there, but then these are also some kind of fundamental flaws that should have kind of been worked out and shouldn't have been included.
New fastest lap for Edinson, 1:14.6.
You know, I only hope that they have some upgrade path down the line for people.
Car left. Still there. He's still there. Clear left.
You know, if they have an upgrade path for some people,
Let's just pack up and go.
that'll be great, you know, so that way people have some options. But if they don't, that really sucks. Releases it down. Okay, let me park so I can read this. As you see, I'm just not I'm not comfortable in this GR86. I don't actually use it very often.
E14. This really isn't good for morale. We've been busting our asses here. We might as well not bothered.
I'm so sorry,
We need to sit down
crew chief. I'm so
and
sorry.
talk properly when you get back to the pits.
Alright, so let's see. The quick release is a downer, especially you know, and yeah, you're right, you know, for me personally, I only see the issue in because I kind of like the yoke style GT3 wheels. Like that's why I have the McLaren GT3 wheel for my Fanatec setup, and I have a custom Acelith wheel for my PXN setup. For my Moza setup, I have the little rim that Moza made that attaches to the ES wheel, but I also have the KS wheel from Moza, so I've got that. So I really like those styles of wheel. So if I couldn't change to something like that, I'd be like, that kind of sucks, you know, because I really do like those wheels, those styles of wheels. I'm okay with D-shaped wheels too. I don't drift. I have absolutely zero intention of drifting. And off-road rallying, I really don't do those. I did get a handbrake just to try it out, and I've used it like maybe once or twice for a review in a video, and that's been really it. So to me, not changing out the wheel or having only a D-shaped wheel isn't that big of a deal, for the same reasons that I mentioned when I was talking about the Camus C5 and how that's pretty much locked with only one type of wheel. But because the wheelbase is so good, I'm able to overlook it. iRacing ovals. So, okay. Yeah, so I mean, it really comes down to your style of driving. So if you're doing ovals, I mean, for ovals, I think you kind of maybe want like a bigger wheel just because it gives you makes it a little more comfortable. I don't know. I don't drive oval at all. You know, as you see, I like sports car driving. So, you know, D-shaped wheel is just fine for that. And the F1 style wheel is just fine for that also. You know, and that's why I gravitate to those styles of wheel. You know, and having the option to change it out is a bonus. But if your equipment is so good that I'm able to overlook it, like I am with the Camus, you know, it's like, damn, it's $250, and the force feedback feels really, really, really good. Now that I'm using the 8 Newton meters, it doesn't feel as strong as this 8 Newton meters, but it definitely does feel stronger than the 5. So, you know, maybe 6, 7, no. But really, that's the big thing that was with the Turtle Beach. You know, what kind of experience were they going to give the consumer? You know, you've already got companies like Moza that give you a quality product at a decent price. Fanatec sucks. Their shipping sucks. Their logistics sucks. You know, their customer support sucks. Corporate wise, Fanatec blows dick. But the products that they make are freaking good. And at that point is when you have to ask yourself that question. Am I okay with dealing with a shit company that makes a good product? Or do I just want to look somewhere else because I don't want to potentially have to deal with a headache? Some people are in a position where they've got the money that they can say, you know what? Fuck it. I will deal with the shit company and I will get their product because their product is good. And if it breaks, and when the time comes that I need to fix it or replace it or whatever, I'll sort it out then. I am not in that position. So when the whole thing went down, that's, that's what it was for me. I made that decision that, you know what? This was my one and only purchase from Fanatec. If I do buy anything else, I'll buy it secondhand from the community. I have no problem doing that. I'd rather support the community than a company that doesn't learn from its mistakes. Now, there's other companies. You've got Simicube, SimMagic, Acetec, VRS. You've got all these other companies that make really, really good wheelbases. Now, those wheelbases are like $500-600 just for the wheelbases alone. What I was looking at, and the big video that I'm working towards now in reusing all these wheelbases, is kind of like a roundup of all the entry-level 5 Newton meter wheelbases that you can buy currently, and which one would I recommend over the other. So that's the video I'm currently working on. I'm gathering all the information by using all these wheelbases. When you want to step up to that next level, there are other companies that you can easily go ahead and support, that you don't have to support Fanatec, because Fanatec does have that next step up. But there's the problems with Fanatec. So instead of dealing with the problems of Fanatec, I'd rather just go use one of those other companies that actually makes freaking really good products. So at least at that point, you have an option. But if you're an entry level or you need console compatibility, you're shackled. If you're on PlayStation, you're shackled. You're shackled to either an expensive Logitech or an expensive Fanatec. If you're willing to take the chance on PXN, they make a good quality product. They have good customer support. I haven't had one problem with them. And the small few problems that I've had with their gear, they've been able to help me out and get things sorted out. But they're in the same place where Moza was like 2-3 years ago. They're a nobody, so nobody's really gonna want to give them money. Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm leaning towards with my video. Well, with the video that I'm in the process of, preparing, is, all the 5 Newton meter bases from Moza, Fanatec, Camus, PXN, I wanted to include Turtle Beach, but I'm just like, I don't know about that one. And just like kind of a roundup of, look, this is what's available, and depending on what your use case is, this is probably where you want to look towards. You know, this is the where you'd want to, you know, your research, and where maybe you may want to try out if you're able to, or, you know, maybe take the plunge and make sure they have a good return policy. When you step up from that 5 Newton meters and you start going into the 9, which would be the R9 from Moza, or 10s, which would then be Simicube and Asetec, with Asetec having the La Prima and Simicube having that, is it the Alpha Mini, or is that from Sim Magic? I think Sim Magic does the Alpha Mini and Simicube does the SC2, or they have another one. Well, either way, when you start getting into that mid-level, you know, like that 10 to 12 Newton meter sweet spot, as everybody likes to say, which I think the 12 Newton meter tends to be the sweet spot. Much better companies available, higher price point, but much better quality. At that point, you're locked pretty much to PC, unless you know, you go out to like Fanatec, where they have their new Club Sport DD Plus, which is 15 Newton meters and PlayStation compatible, and that's at $1,000. They have their 12 Newton meter, which honestly, there's so many other things out there that I would probably recommend, like an Asetec or a Simicube or a Sim Magic before I would a CSL DD. You know, like if you need Xbox compatibility, I think that's a little bit easier to sort out. Now, if you need PlayStation compatibility, that right there, you're stuck between a rock and another fucking rock. You know, and you're pretty much stuck with Logitech overpriced, Fanatec overpriced, and who knows when you'll get it. You know, that's what it is. Let me take a look here. And that is the issue when you're spending a lot of money. And at $650, almost $700 when you start including tax and shipping, if the build quality isn't up to par and it's super plasticky and you start to see paint chipping, buttons stop working, it starts to creak, plastic starts to crack just because, you know, you've got a 7.2 peak Newton meter base in a cheap plastic housing, what's gonna give? You know, the issues that some people have had, which may not be indicative, you know, those are like test samples of, you know, or sample sizes of 1 or 2 where they're having problems, but how many did they produce? You know, how many are out in circulation compared to who's having the problems? Like, what's that percentage? When you're spending that kind of money on a new company, it's a dice roll, and I can understand why people feel like that. Why they felt like that about Moza 2 years ago, maybe even a year ago. Hell, that. Why they feel like that about PXN, why they feel like that about Camus. You know, those are companies where they don't have track records. And then this leads me to the whole, you know, pedigree issue, where I've said this before. Fanatec, they have pedigree. Fanatec has been in the sim racing world for a very long time. You know, they have products that, you know, are still working extremely well, and people are selling on the secondhand market. You know, 5, 6, 7-year-old, you know, wheelbases that are still going strong. Yeah, you might have 1 or 2 new ones that may have an issue, but that's consumer electronics. That happens. You know, but for the bulk of it, it's all still working and working well. So as much as we want to talk smack about Fanatec, the company, and the corporate side of it, the products that they produce are really good. And this is where, like I mentioned before, you have to have that conversation with yourself. Are you willing to deal with the headache and buy a decent product, a good product, or just say fuck it and just not have to deal with any of it and, you know, go ahead and go with another company? All right, let's go ahead and let's race. Oof, it's already 1 a.m. Let's do another quick race, but this time I'm going to do VIR, the North Course, and I'm going to use the Formula Ford 1600. So, these a lot of things that you have to really take into consideration. So I can understand where if the crap's out for you in 6 months, at least you should have a 1 year manufacturer, warranty. So that's a bonus there, but kind of sucks if you have to use it within that time. The community needs a video covering all these newer wheels. Yeah, the build quality of the wheelbase feels very solid to me. Just more worried about the actual motor, just because if you see, then that's kind of the thing where it's a consumer electronic. I mean, you could buy a high-end one and it's a crapshoot. It's kind of the same thing with computer parts. I custom built my PC. I've been custom building PCs for a long time. There are times when I've gotten an ROG motherboard and it was DOA, brand new. I opened it up, you go ahead, you start, plugging in components to make sure you get post, and you've got nothing. It happens. It really does happen. And some people want to be like, oh, no, that should never happen. Bullshit. That happens. There are times when you can get a brand new piece of electronic and it just doesn't work, or it's broken, or it breaks quickly. That happens. That's why they have the warranties they do. So, with everything, it's a crapshoot. You kind of want to stick toward some of the better companies because they have better quality assurance. Their QA processes are much higher and better tolerances than some of the, other companies where I'm not going to say they're bad, because I've got PXN, I've got the Moza, I've got the Camus. The quality, the fit and finish on that's really good, and maybe they're just a little bit extra because they're unknown. But because they're unknown, people may not want to take that chance. I also just got a Quest 3 for racing in VR. That put me right in. Yeah, I really like VR racing if it just did not make me absolutely motion sick like crazy. I have a Quest 2 that I was really wanting to use, and anytime I would, it wasn't fun for me. So, and the thing is, I really like it. I really think VR is super awesome, especially when you're sitting in your cockpit, and if you want to take it that little bit of extra immersion and have like motion, it's super awesome. I'm pretty new to sim racing. I have a G923 Lodge stack. I'm still getting a Fanatec CSLTT. Came across you talking about the topic. How is the product? Okay, so I have the GT Pro. So the version that I have is the more expensive version because it's PlayStation compatible. The only difference between this one and the other one is the PlayStation compatibility and the extra that Fanatec charges you for that PlayStation license. Quite honestly, I really like the base. I really do. I hate the company. And the company has just rubbed me and just about everybody else the wrong way with the issues that they've been having when it comes to logistics, when it comes to customer service, when it comes to communication with the customer. They're in the toilet. Apparently, it's a thing that's always been with them, but for some reason, it's gotten even worse recently, especially from Black Friday. It's really been elevated. So you have to take that into account. I'm also a rather reasonable person, and I can understand that you have a company that is being run poorly. Corporate-wise, they suck balls, but they produce, or at least, they're making a product or having it made for them that has some good quality and works well. At that point, you really have to have that conversation with yourself. What is your price point? And if this falls in your price point, whereas maybe some of the other companies don't, if this is the one that most fits what your needs are you willing to deal with the headache of, not getting shipping information, not getting a tracking number? I waited 22 days before I even knew what the hell was happening with my order. My biggest issue was I didn't want my order to just gotten lost, and then I had to go through the hassle and the hoops and hurdles of proving to them that I hadn't placed an order, or that I hadn't already gotten my order and I was trying to scam them. That was my biggest issue. I really wasn't worried about, Fanatec scammed me out of money, I'm never going to get anything. They're small enough of a company that they shouldn't be having these problems, but they're also large enough of a company that they're not going to scam you like that. And while there's some people with some crazy theories and rather unhinged, I'm so sorry, I apologize. And there are some people that are rather unhinged with, the direction that they're taking with the whole Fanatec issue. My thing is I kind of want to keep pushing at them that they need to improve their communication with the customer. Me personally, I will not buy anything else from Fanatec from them. I will buy it secondhand. And trust me, I want that Club Sport DD Extreme. I want that bundle desperately. I'm willing. Had I known that was coming out, instead of purchasing the setup that I did, I would have bought that bundle in itself and spent more money with them to get pedals and whatever else I needed. I would have done that, but they fucked up and they did whatever. That's a whole, I have other videos on this. So you have to have that conversation with yourself. How much are you willing to spend? Is Fanatec in the price range of giving you everything that you need and you're willing to wait for it, or you're willing to go through that hassle of it? If you're willing to do that, honestly, I do like the Fanatec equipment. It's good, and just before anybody says, oh, he's selling out, he's a Fanatec shill. No, fuck Fanatec. They suck balls, but they do make a quality product. Corporate sucks. Product, good. You can be a reasonable person and think these two things at the same time. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Let me see. Maybe I got off on. Let's see. Again, I got to go back a little bit. So I was thinking of Fanatec. Came across stuff. Okay, I feel super. Okay. Oh, so Last Hermanos could instead get an R5 from a store near my house, like 10 minutes. Okay, so I do have an R5 also. I do have an R5 bundle. And along with that R5 bundle, it's good. And the software, the Pit House software, is really good too. That's another thing some people don't talk about. They don't talk about the quality of the software. Pit House's software, some people may like it, some people may hate it. I really like it. I think it's a really good piece of software. But I really like the R5. You're going to find some videos out there of people that absolutely hate their R5s. There are some that, I don't know what they were doing. They overheated them. I haven't had that issue. I have absolutely nothing but positives with the R5. Now, I bought it on Amazon and I ended up overpaying a little bit. That's a whole different story. But I have my R5 bundle. I bought the GT3 wheel. You know what? Hold on. Let me step away and I'll. Oh. All right. So you can go back to some of my older videos and you'll see if you check out my YouTube videos. I don't know where you're seeing. Okay, you're on YouTube. So yeah, just look at some of my older videos and I have R5 videos. I bought this rim. This is the Formula style rim that Moza makes for their ES wheel that comes on with the R5. So it's normally a D-shaped wheel. I bought this one. This is freaking awesome. Best $40 spent. I would also recommend you get the brake. Okay. They've had mixed reviews about their load cell pedal. Now, if you're getting this to be strictly on PC, then maybe look at another set of pedals. Get the bundle with the SRP light pedals, with the Hall effects sensor pedals. Use it. If you're going to use them, I would recommend the brake performance kit to make that brake pedal stiffer. If you're able to get a load cell pedal, I've heard mixed reviews about their CRP, I think that's their load cell pedal. Or maybe you can source out another brand of load cell pedal. I mean, maybe even like some Simjacks or, the Thrustmaster TLCMs. They're relatively inexpensive. Or maybe spend a little bit more and get, some better quality load cell pedals, but the wheelbase is good. I do like the wheelbase. I've had it, I've used it, I enjoy it. I do have the KS wheel just above me. I've used it for 280 bucks. It's awesome. That F1 adapter for that wheel, quite honestly, I perfectly happy with just that and wouldn't need the KS wheel. I really got the KS wheel to use that with my PXM base since they share the same quick release. But, you know, if the R5 is an option for you, I could recommend the R5. Now, understand that it's 5 Newton meters. And if you're talking about the CSL DD at 8 Newton meters, I'm feeling what my GTDD Pro is at 8 Newton meters. And it's got some good road feel. It's got some really good road texture. The force feedback is really good at 8 Newton meters. You know, comparatively to the 5, I really prefer it at 8. I'm a little spoiled now. The Camus C5 is really good at 5. I'm happy with that. My PXM base is at 6. I never really had a problem with it. This Fanatec setup at 5, it was okay. I was okay with it. When I included the boost kit and I took it up to 8, that's where it really came to life. I thought it was a much better experience than at the 5. The good part is that you can get a third-party power brick to take it to 8 Newton meters for like under 50 bucks, I think. I've seen some people say 20 bucks, and you don't have to pay, I think, almost 80 to 100 from Fanatec directly. So you can save yourself some money if you decide to do that. But with Moza, you could get the R5. You know, that's an option. Or the R9. That's also an option. Okay. Still, I've used the G29 till now. Honestly, I really liked the Moza setup. When I had the Moza setup here, and as soon as I hooked it up and I went right into Assetto Corsa to use it, I was very pleasantly surprised over how sharp the force feedback on it was. And, you know, I'm not saying sharp as in like overly powerful or, you know, not, it was just very pronounced. And what I expected to feel is exactly what I felt. So, you know, it was really good force feedback on the R5. And if you're going from a 923, that would be a good upgrade to go from there. Maybe you might want to consider, like, you know, and this is where I say budget is your king. What you need to really set up, if you already know you've used your 923, you're in this and this is your hobby that you want to keep for a while, work out your budget first. The last thing you want to do is start buying things and then, oh, I'm going to buy an R5. And then you use the R5 for a few months and you're like, it's feeling a little flat. I think I need something a little bit more powerful. The whole buy once, cry once, as much as I absolutely hate that fucking quote or, you know, whatever it is, I don't like that saying. Sometimes it does ring true. So you may want to really look at your budget. And if, you know, there's really nothing you can do in the R5 or the CSLDD, if that's right there, if that's, you know, providing everything you need at the budget you need, then I can understand that. But if you're able to hold off a little bit, maybe save a little bit of more money, you know, it's tax time. If you're maybe able to, you know, take a little bit, you know, from your return, if you get one, you know, and like put that away, save a little bit more, and then maybe go with like an R12, you know, maybe an R9, but I think an R12, because that 12 Newton meters is that kind of sweet spot. And if you get the 12 and you're like, oh, this 12 is just way too much for me, you can always turn it down. You can always get a stronger wheelbase and turn down the power, you know, to something that's more comfortable for you. You might lose some definition, you might lose a few things, but it'll be very similar as if you got in a weaker base. But you can't get a weaker base and make it stronger. So you may want to take that into account. Oh, well, R9 is going to be a lot out of budget. Honestly, I think the R9 base is pretty much what the entire R5 bundle is. And quite honestly, the R5 bundle, while it's great, if you don't need the desk clamp, that's a waste. The pedals, while they're not horrible, they're not great. You can always do better. You know, so this is why I really stress your budget. Look at what your budget is, you know, and what you're able to go ahead and set aside for yourself to do. and exactly how in depth you want to get with it. And it's also not something that you have to go ahead and do right away. So if you're happy with your 923 for right now, if it's, fulfilling all the things that you kind of need for right now, with knowing that you're going to upgrade, maybe just stick with it a little bit longer until you can get exactly what it is that you want. There we go, north course. And everything else I'll leave the same. So, that's really what it is. Budget is going to be the king. You need to know where your budget is at. And also understand that now, if you're going from a 923, which is a gear driven, did it seriously crash on me? Yes, it did. It seriously crashed on me. Damn you, iRacing. You're going to a direct drive from a gear driven setup. It's going to be a lot quieter and you're going to absolutely love that. But at the same time, you're going to have a lot more power. So if you don't have a pretty sturdy wheel stand to have this all hooked up to, it may not be the best of experiences. So, these are all other things that you also have to take into account. If you're going to clamp it to a desk, make sure your desk is rather sturdy. I'm not saying 5 Newton meters is, going to rip up, it's not going to rip apart your desk, but you may notice, some movement. And the thing is that when you don't have it nice and rigidly mounted, all of that excess movement that it can do absorbs force feedback. Just like putting too big or heavy of a wheel on a weaker wheelbase will naturally dampen the force feedback. If your base for the wheel is not sturdy and just wobbles, those wobbles will absorb the force feedback and will make it feel rather numb, and it won't be a good experience. All right, let's go ahead and let's get into this, because I just noticed it's 1:30 in the morning and I have to be up super early to take the kids to
8 laps,
school.
make them count. The track temp is 15. The air temp is 18 Celsius. Okay, get ready. Green, green, green.
Wow, that was a bad start. Well, if your desk can hold it, then you're in a good position, and that's a bonus for you. But it's just one of those things that, also take that into account. These are all things that you need to take into account. Look at all these puddles. I'm trying to read and drive at the same time. This is why they say don't text and drive. Right now I'm proving why you don't text and drive. So don't text and drive, guys. Yeah, so right now, if your desk is holding it just fine with the G29, I have a feeling that you'll probably be okay with your desk and the R5. I have a strong suspicion you'll be okay with your desk, especially if you're saying it's a nice heavy desk. But take into account that that is also going to affect its performance. So if it doesn't feel exactly the way you're expecting it to, that could be a reason. Oh, you're very welcome. That's the whole point of my channel, is to educate and make sure that, the things that you sometimes don't think of or consider, somebody else sometimes will, just a difference of a point of view, and can, you know, kickstart you into thinking about other things, and just making sure that wow, that was bad, that was bad, you know, kickstarts you into thinking differently. And if you get a chance, take a look at some of the videos that I have up there. You know, that may go ahead and answer some questions about the hardware, especially the R5, because I do have some videos pertaining to the R5. God.
The driver in front of us is
Upper maybes.
AI is making me look horrible. Well, I mean, I do that to myself just enough, but... so many puddles. God, they left me in the dust.
the leader has just done a 156.0.
Oh. That all comes with practice and wheel time. And trust me, I've been at this for some time, and as you see, I still suck. I'm driving Miss Daisy. I wouldn't be surprised if they lapped me.
That's a new fastest lap for Nash, 154.2. We've had a cut warning. Keep it tidy, please, Joey.
Actually, Le Mans Ultimate is rather enjoyable. And for all of my criticisms of it, you know, like sound, graphics, which, you know, I think that's just me being overly picky. You know, a few bugs here and there when it comes to like picking the race time lengths and stuff. It's actually a rather enjoyable sim. I'm enjoying it. I want to try it out with my VR headset just because I hear it's a pretty good experience. So if I can go ahead and not throw up, that'll be maybe fun. I don't know how the freaking AI is making it through here.
New fastest lap for Nash, 153.7.
Oof. I can feel the splashes. How many laps am I at? Oh, 4 laps to go.
Keep it within the track limits.
Yeah, the whole time bug with Le Mans is kind of annoying. It's getting on my nerves. Like, it'll work 2 out of 3 times. But that third time, you know, like the one time it doesn't work is like, ugh. Well, you see, that's the good part when, since they're using a lot of this, you know, it's a lot of the same tracks. So if you know the track because you've been driving the same track on iRacing, or oh wow, that was a massive tank in my frame rate. What the hell? So like I was saying, if you've driven the track in iRacing, or you've driven the tracks in Assetto Corsa, or you've driven the tracks in ACC or AMS2, or all the tons of other sims that are available, if you know you've run those tracks enough times, which I have, you know, you kind of already get accustomed to them. And if you seem to have a better time in one sim than another, probably use the sim that you're best in to learn the track. So then that way when you go to Le Mans Ultimate, you're kind of already familiar with it. And like for me, my times are almost identical, you know, maybe a few tenths of a second off, plus or minus, from like ACC or Assetto Corsa or AMS2 to Le Mans Ultimate. Like my times are extremely consistent. So, you know, maybe learn the track in a sim that you're most comfortable with, and that should help improve your track knowledge and your lap time. Okay, I need to get to bed. I think I'm done with this for tonight. Let's see here. Let me read this last one. What I loved about iRacing is that you can train as a ghost in regular races. You know, I did see that also. That was never a feature that I actually tried out, but I did see that was something that you can do, and I think that is kind of awesome. So if you're able to go ahead and learn the track and not impede on somebody else's race, that is super awesome. All right, guys, so I've been streaming for almost 2.5 hours now. My voice, I don't know if you can hear it, is pretty much done. So I think I'm going to call it for tonight. I'm going to thank everyone who stopped by to say hello, everybody, you know, in the chat. Thank you so much for spending some time with me tonight. I really do appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Let's see if I can go ahead and get some time away tomorrow to do it again. Oh, you're very welcome, bro. Just, you know, always remember, budget is king, and what's your actual usage. So then that way you're not overspending, but you're not also underspending. You know, the last thing you want to do is, you know, buy something and then buy it twice. So, you know, well, you're welcome. Have a good night. And everybody else, thank you so very much. I greatly appreciate all of you. Don't forget, hit those follow buttons on Twitch. Hit the follow button on YouTube. You know, more live streams are coming. More videos are coming. Thank you all. I'm still on that goal. I'm trying to hit 500. I was trying before the end of February, but I guess let's try before the end of March if we can hit 500 subs on YouTube. So guys, thank you so very much. I thank you all, and everyone have a good night. Peace.